right now.
Jones.
And I'm Matthew Gady. Here's a look at our top stories.
A Boeing plane lands at the wrong airport in Kansas.
We get a sneak peek at Apple's plans for a new headquarters in California.
PLU In Focus takes a look at the local Habitat for Humanity program and how PLU students can get involved.
All that and more next on News at 9.
The much anticipated Harry and the Potters concert at PLU was canceled due to a band emergency. We talked with Laser and ASPLU to see what exactly happened.
There was a family emergency with one of the band members. It was actually an emergency with one of the brothers' wives.
We have a lot of Harry Potter fans, and we just thought it would be really fun to have a band come to campus and just have this fall event for the students that we just thought would be really fun, and that a lot of people in the PLU community and in the Parkland community could enjoy it too.
Their schedule's pretty tight and they have a lot of stuff in early December, which is when we'd like to bring them, but it might conflict with what they already have going on. I hope they reschedule, but it looks like maybe not. We're hoping to bring maybe a smaller local band towards the end of the semester, and then also have maybe a student showcase show. But as far, I don't know if we'll have a headliner like Harry and the Potters this semester.
ASPLU is speaking with the band to have them perform at PLU eventually, but no official date has been set.
Scotland Yard announced today that British police have arrested a couple on suspicion of holding 3 women hostage for more than 30 years. Officers from the Human Trafficking Unit arrested the man and woman, both 67, at their South London home as part of an investigation into slavery and domestic servitude. Investigators say a 69-year-old Malaysian woman, a 57-year-old Irish woman, and a 30-year-old Briton have been taken to a safe place.
All 3 women were highly traumatized and were taken to a place of safety where they remain. They're in the care of a charity who deal with people who are deeply traumatized. These are deeply traumatized people, and it's essential that we work sensitively to establish the facts in this case.
Police say they were alerted in October to the situation by Freedom Charity.
The Senate voted today to change the filibuster rules. The so-called nuclear option allows the filibuster to end with 51 votes instead of 60. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell calls the controversial move a diversion tactic.
This is not a very proud day in the history of the Senate. In order to distract attention away from Obamacare, the Senate has just broken the rules in order to change the rules.
Democrats changed the rule out of frustration over Republicans who have been blocking President Obama's nominees. The change only applies to executive and judicial nominees, not Supreme Court nominees.
A cargo plane made just to carry parts for Boeing's oversized 787 Dreamliner aircraft landed at the wrong airport and had difficulty taking off. The Dreamlifter, owned by Atlas Air, was scheduled to arrive at McConnell Air Force Base. Instead, it landed at the much smaller Jabara Airport in Wichita, Kansas. That's nearly 12 miles away. It's not clear why the plane's flight crew ended up at Jabara, but the plane had some difficulty taking off.
An 85-year-old California man is being held in North Korea. Merrill Newman's family says the Korean War veteran had all the proper papers and was in the country with a tour group to visit a war memorial. His son tells CNN Newman was pulled off a plane in Pyongyang minutes before it was scheduled to depart on October 26th. North Korea has not publicly acknowledged it is holding the elderly man. Newman is the second American being held in North Korea. Kenneth Bae is facing 15 years of hard labor after the North Korean government said he was guilty of hostile acts and attempts to topple the government.
It's only 1 week away, and if you're gearing up for Thanksgiving travel, prepare for a tight squeeze. New data suggests seats are getting smaller, while more Americans are struggling with obesity. It's not your imagination. Airline seats are getting smaller. Even worse, we are getting larger, making for an uncomfortable equation. Travel website SeatGuru ran the numbers, and in a seat-by-seat comparison over time, its study confirms the airlines are packing us in. In the 60s, the average airline seat was 17 inches. In the 70s, 18 inches. The 90 seat got even larger, 18.5 inches. But the trend these days, less room. The average seat today is just 16.5 inches, which means more seats per flight and more revenue for the airlines. Experts tell CNN that airlines are filling planes much more than before, flying at around 80% capacity. But it's not just the size is making us feel squeezed. As the sea shrunk, we grew. The World Health Organization says worldwide obesity has doubled since the 1980s. The good news, there is a movement to put a halt to the shrinking space. Airline manufacturer Airbus has partnered with London Sleep Center. It wants to make 18 inches the industry standard for seats, and it found that passengers slept over 50% better in these slightly larger seats. Ultimately, it is up to each individual airline, not the manufacturer of the plane, to determine seat size. And as of now, experts predict that airlines will still value the optimal use of space over a few extra inches of comfort.
Barney's does not racially profile its customers. That's according to an internal review performed by the store. The investigation revolves around a pair of incidents in which black customers were stopped by New York police and incorrectly accused of credit card fraud. According to officials with Barney's, employees did not target two shoppers because of their race. A lawyer representing a woman filing a civil suit against the store says Barney's is performing, quote, damage control. There was no comment from the NYPD.
Steve Jobs' spaceship is about to land. The late Apple founder's idea for a new company headquarters finally got the green light. Dan Simon gives us a peek at the impressive plans.
This is a spaceship from Hollywood. This is a spaceship in Silicon Valley. It is Apple's future headquarters in Cupertino, California. And as these new artist renderings reveal, it is sure to be as iconic as the company's products.
I think we do have a shot of building the best office building in the world.
Steve Jobs first showed it off to the City Council in 2011 in what turned out to be his last public appearance. He approached the project with the same meticulous attention to detail for which he became legendary. Its cafeteria will have retractable walls so employees can feel like they're eating outside. The new campus will have its own transit center, and check out the striking lobby to a pavilion where Apple will hold its famous events to unveil new products. The new headquarters is going here, on 176 acres of property that at one time was owned by Hewlett-Packard. When it's finished, the complex will be so big that you'd be able to fit an NFL stadium right in the middle of it.
We've seen these office parks with lots of buildings, and they get pretty boring pretty fast. So we'd like to do something better than that.
It is nearly 3 million square feet, 4 stories high, and will be built with an unprecedented volume of curved glass.
And we've used our experience in making retail buildings all over the world now. We know how to make the biggest pieces of glass in the world for architectural use.
The outdoors was just as important to Jobs. He wanted the building's center and its outer perimeter to be filled with trees, including apple trees, of course.
I've heard it described as a man-made forest. It will be. I think they're planting 7,000 trees. A lot of the trees are going to have to come down, of course, for the building, but they're replanting 7,000 trees. I mean, they've gone as far as to with an arborist from Stanford to look at in the future as climate change happens, are these trees going to be adaptable to climate change? That's the level of detail that they're looking at. Enjoy it.
Cupertino Mayor Orrin Mahoney also points out that while Apple's products help make it easier to work outside the office, the company specifically designed the structure to foster in-person, hands-on collaboration. The spaceship is expected to land in 2016, a piece of architecture for the ages. Dan Simon, CNN, Cupertino, California.
Beginning next year, Abercrombie & Fitch will offer plus sizes in its women's clothing line. Currently, the retailer does not carry women's sizes above a 10. The shift comes as sales and profit margins have taken a dip. The company has been slammed by many consumers and youth advocacy groups since comments by CEO Mike Jeffries made in a 2006 interview surfaced. He said his clothes were more for cool and good-looking people. Jeffries has since apologized. Abercrombie & Fitch would not provide details on the new sizes or when they would be available.
This could be a recipe for a Thanksgiving Day disaster for some Butterball turkey fans. There is a shortage of large, fresh Butterball turkeys this year. It's all because some farmers who supply Butterball turkeys couldn't get them plump sufficiently, so fresh ones over 16 pounds might be in short supply. But don't panic, there are still plenty of frozen turkeys from Butterball, as well as fresh birds from other producers available for your roasting pleasure. Butterball produces about 1.3 billion pounds of turkey meat each year, about 20% of the United States turkeys. Stay tuned and we'll be back after this next commercial break.
Next is PLU in Focus. This week they'll be looking at Habitat for Humanity and how PLU is getting involved in the program.
So here's the deal. I can show you a bunch of footage of third world countries with starving children and roofless shacks. But you've seen that all before. I can play on your emotions and explain to you why you have it so good and you owe it to the world to go out there and help others. But you already know that. The truth is, this is nothing new to you, but the world is still waiting for people like you. So what are you waiting for? Peace Corps. Life is calling. How far will you go?
This new phone is awesome. It has made my life so much easier. You know, I get kind of bored when I'm driving and I need to know what's going on. So now, with this huge screen, a keyboard, and a ton of apps, I can get a text and write back right away, no problem. It's like I barely even have to look at it.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Leah Traxel with PLU in Focus. The Center for Community Engagement and Service has a new project that's getting students out of the Lute home and into the surrounding community. Habitat for Humanity is building a housing development for low-income families less than 2 miles away from the PLU campus on the border of Parkland and Midland. When CCES Director Joel Zylstra heard about the project, he saw an opportunity for Lutes to get involved. Since the project got started, PLU students have given hundreds of volunteer hours to work on the site. Many different organizations have worked together to raise $10,000 to sponsor a home.
PLU became involved with this house about a year ago. We were approached by Joel Zylstra, the director for the Center for Community Engagement and Service. Joel, since he's taken over there a couple of years ago, has really made a commitment to get Lutes out in the Parkland community, to begin serving in the community that they live in.
So here locally in Pierce County, PLU and Thrivent came together with a Thrivent Builds project where there's a house that Thrivent put up $65,000, PLU raised $10,000, and together we're providing volunteers to the house to help do the labor. And Habitat, of course, is helping us do it correctly.
Our involvement with Habitat has had 3 components all along. One is that we wanted to connect student volunteers, as you mentioned. Another piece is that we wanted to have a fundraising effort that we would be taking an active role on as a university. And the third is to be able to connect courses on campus with the Habitat project.
Joel, since he's taken over there a couple of years ago, has really made a commitment to get Lutes out in the Parkland community, to begin serving in the community that they live in.
You begin to break down perceptions of what Parkland is. We're trying to get students to see Parkland in a different way and to appreciate it for what it is rather than just simply rely on the stereotypes that are out there. As far as the volunteering goes, it wasn't a hard sell. Most students have heard of Habitat for Humanity. Students enjoy the opportunity to go out and build something and see their progress of their work.
PLU, the type of people that go to PLU and the type of students that are there tend to be people that care about others and want to do for others. So it doesn't surprise me that Lute students and Lute alumni are out contributing to the community and trying to not just give a handout, but a hand up.
Last time I checked, it was about 170 students had gone off campus and participated in the build. We've had teams, we've had offices, we've had clubs, we've had all kinds of different groups over the course of the fall go out there together. President Kreis and Patty have been out to the site. People from all over the university, faculty, staff, and students have been active in the project.
Last Saturday, dozens of volunteers gave up part of their weekend to work on one of the Habitat houses. PLU students and staff, high school students, and project sponsors donned work boots and gloves and got to work putting the finishing touches on a house.
Today right now we're laying the foundation. We have the grass because the dedication is going to come next week, so we're just trying to get the final touches ready to give away the house. Really.
We have a lot of stuff going on with the exterior and also quite a bit going on inside too. So as you can see right here, we have some people who are raking out dirt. Creating the lawn effectively. They're rolling out the sod. And then on the inside, what we're doing is preparing to paint. So we already took a spray gun and painted down all of the walls, but now all of the trim goes around the baseboards, floors, windowsills, and the doors and all of that. We're preparing to isolate that by taping it off and making sure that none of the walls are going to get hit.
When we call it the woods, it was the woods a year ago. There was no street, no sewer, no sidewalk, none of that was here.
For those of us that were out there in September till now, there's a huge difference. There's a house that's up in place. So it's fun to be able to see your progress that way. And it's a green, it's a sustainably designed community. And so there's all kinds of features that make it unique that way.
I think it's really important to stay connected to the community because I feel like we can get so locked in the loop dome, you know, and it's just like, we're here, so why don't we dive in, why don't we learn about the community?
While the effects of this particular project are limited to the Parkland area, the Tacoma Pierce Habitat for Humanity branch is actually part of a much larger organization. Habitat for Humanity worldwide has projects going on in nearly 90 different countries, and the organization has housed more than 2 million people since 1976. They work with families that make between 30 and 50% of the area median income to allow people to own their own homes who wouldn't otherwise have that opportunity. Their mission is simple.
Our mission is, with God's grace and the cooperation of people from all walks of life, we partner with families in need to build and own simple, decent, affordable homes in safe communities.
I was under the impression that they simply gave out houses to people for free.
There's a common misconception that we just give away our homes. Our families have to contribute 500 hours of sweat equity, so each family puts in 500 hours helping to build their own home, their neighbors' homes, and the homes in their community.
But quickly I learned, one, that their model is very unique in that they're not giving out free houses. Families pay for the houses with affordable mortgage rates, zero mortgage rate actually.
If a family of 4 making less than $30,000 a year goes to a bank and asks for a $160,000 mortgage to buy their own house, probably not a great chance that that's going to happen. So these neighborhoods are built by the families. So these families spend anywhere from 6 to 12 months working side by side, fostering that friendship, that sense of community.
There are going to be 30 homes there. They're estimating about 100 kids living in that community.
Most homeowners, you ask them and you say, you know, when you bought your house, did you know your neighbors? Everybody says no.
This has never been about let's build a house and leave. It's always been about we have an opportunity to participate in something from the beginning, but there's going to be a sustained presence here over the long.
Future resident Melissa Brown said she is most looking forward to the sense of community that Habitat is trying to foster in the woods. She is a mother of 2 and hopes her daughters will be encouraged to do well in school. Melissa heard about Habitat for Humanity from a neighbor who saw the construction and told her to apply. Figuring she had nothing to lose, Melissa filled out the online application form and sent it in. Shortly afterwards, she got a surprise phone call at work. She had been accepted. Melissa shares what it is like to be working towards home ownership for the first time in her life.
It's amazing. I still have a hard time walking through here without my eyes going, you can hear me choking? I was at work when they told me, so I couldn't do what I wanted to do, which was jump up and down and scream. I did start bawling at my desk, you know, and my boss is looking at me cross-eyed, but when I went and told her afterwards, she's like, okay, you deserve a blubber fest.
Each family has to volunteer 500 sweat hours, so we're meeting the family, we're working with them, and we're building onto relationships, like getting to know where they come from and like really understanding the struggle and like how we can be a part of that, and just like learning about advocacy and education. So it's just a great opportunity to stay connected with the community.
All the money that I've put into renting now goes towards home ownership. A lot of the restrictions that I had to place on my kids due to renting, they aren't going to be there. If they want to paint a wall purple, they can have one wall. But I don't have to worry about repairing it back to what the landlord says in imperfection. I can give them a little more leeway so they've got some ownership themselves. Because once they can build their own ownership, it's not we're borrowing somebody else's stuff. It's a sense of permanence.
The safest communities are communities where you know your neighbor. Instead of building just a house here and a house there throughout Pierce County, we decided that we wanted to forge a great sense of community within our organization and our partner families.
it was never about the house. It was always about the community in it.
There's a lot of different programs that they kind of want to build in with tutoring for the kids, and I want to help build that community up, not only using the services but putting back in. So I guess my big excitement is building forward, bigger and higher and brighter.
To get involved or to find out more about PLU's involvement with Habitat for Humanity, email service@plu.edu. I'm Leah Traxo with PLU in Focus. Up next is Beyond the Brochure. We'll be sitting down with Ruthie Kovanen, the editor for The Matrix, PLU's social justice magazine.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to News at 9. I'm Devere Dudley here with Ruthie Kovanen, The Matrix's editor this year. She'll be talking about The Matrix and how students can submit their work for next semester. Ruthie, thanks for joining us tonight. First off, for those who don't know, can you explain what The Matrix is and its purpose here at PLU?
Yeah, and thanks for having me.
Of course.
So The Matrix is PLU's social justice magazine, and basically our purpose is to offer an outlet for students to explore different ways that social justice can take form, and just kind of a way to explore what social justice is.
So is there a theme to Matrix this year?
Yes. So how it works is we have a theme for each semester. So this semester's issue is called Common Ground, and we're specifically looking at the ways in which common ground can be found between and among issues of sustainability, diversity, and social justice.
I see. What kind of work can students submit to The Matrix?
Yeah, so we're really open to a lot of different types of submissions. So a lot of our pieces are more essay or article based, but we also accept poetry and photography and artwork and comics. So anything like that.
You mentioned photography. Do you accept digital works such as video projects and maybe music?
Absolutely. In the past, we've had students submit original songs, and so we put the lyrics in the print magazine, but then the songs will be available on our website. But with video projects, that can definitely go on our website as well.
Now, should they all have a social justice aspect to them?
Yeah, so since we are PLU's social justice magazine, that is kind of the focus, but I think a lot of times people have kind of a narrow view of what social justice is, and so I guess our goal is to kind of broaden that view.
How many issues have there been in The Matrix this year?
There are 2 each year, so we are gearing up for our fall publication, which will be out soon, but yep. 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring.
Do you know the date of this first issue?
Yes, it will be December 6th, the first Friday after the Thanksgiving break.
Okay, does The Matrix hold any events throughout the year that students can sort of come to?
Yeah, and that's one area that we're trying to improve on as well. But this last fall, The Matrix hosted a film screening of the documentary Flow for the Love of Water. And hopefully within the next spring semester, we'll have even more events like panel discussions or more film screenings.
Cool. Any other ways students can get involved with The Matrix?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always looking for help with design or anything like that, if students are really interested in those types of things. Or coming up this spring semester, we'll be looking for next year's editor of the Matrix, so keep an eye out for that too.
So talk to me a little bit about your job. What does your job entail as the Matrix's editor?
Yeah, so in past years, the work has kind of been divvied up among different people, like with an editor and a graphic designer, but it's just me this year, so I've been doing a lot of promotion and a lot of advertising, and I've also been kind of delving more into the design portion of the job. So I've designed posters and I've designed the layout for this semester's issue, and we also do work on social media as well. What's your favorite part about being editor? I really love all of it. I like the design aspect of it. And that was kind of unexpected for me. I really enjoy kind of like laying out the pages, but I also just really love hearing students' voices and opinions through their work. It just reminds me of how talented PLU students are.
Sounds like a great job. Is there anything else you'd like to mention about the Matrix?
I guess just look for our issue the first week in December and submit for next semester's issue.
Cool, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for tonight. Ruth, thank you for coming in again. We'll see you on December 5th for our last show of the semester, but go ahead and feel free to check us out anytime at massmedia.plu.edu. For all the News at 9 crew, I'm Devere Dudley. Good night.